Today I'm going to be doing a tarot reading for Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm going to be using this as a relic. Now, Ghislaine is a Capricorn, which is a sort of like stable kind of person, disciplined maybe, more practical, ambitious and practical, which is a good combination. Being a ambitious person is good. Being a grounded and practical person is good. These are things that, if you want to be successful in life, kind of a good recipe for success. It doesn't mean you're going to be happy, because Capricorns tend to be pessimistic. Doesn't mean that they always are. Sort of, if you look at the world in a practical way, you might have difficulty trusting that things can ever be good. She's also a life path 9. So we're talking about a life path 9, and she was born on Christmas. Life path 9 is another very successful kind of person, working within the system to gain a lot of success. She's 63 right now. 6 plus 3 is 9. So right now might be the best time to look into her life. I know that her dad worked for Mossad, and her dad introduced her to Jeffrey Epstein. So you take that information as you wish. What we'll first do is we will draw a card for Ghislaine to represent her for the rest of this reading. What's the card? It tells us what's going on. Reversed Hierophant. Now that's interesting. I think, if I remember correctly, Jordan Peterson also got a reverse Hierophant. The way I look at the reverse Hierophant for Ghislaine has to do with her being a free agent in the world. She's not someone who's bound by cultural restrictions or religious restrictions. She's not a traditionalist. There's a lot of ways to interpret the mixing of a Capricorn with a life path 9. But when we look at this reverse Hierophant, I think it says a lot about the way humanity specifically perceives people like Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. People who did just do whatever they wanted, but did it in a very structured, careful way, all the way up into their demise, which, she's 63 years old. I mean, one could say, yeah, sure, finally justice is served, but now she is currently challenging her current sentence. It may not really end up being that she even has to face that much prison time. She may get that immunity that she's asking for, and who knows where that will take her. But I will ask for a past, present, future spread, and then we'll work from there. How about that? So we're going to do a past, present, and future. Ooh. Adjusting the light so it's not too much reflecting. So the past, reverse King of Swords. Present, reverse 8 of Wands. Future, reverse Fool. Now imagine that, getting the reverse Fool for your future. That is very interesting. But let's try to start from the beginning. Now, these two cards really make a lot of sense for me. Reverse King of Swords is you can see it as a manipulative card, someone who looks deep down inside, and someone who looks at their insides, and they say to themselves, what do I need to do to control the outcomes of the universe, to control the outcomes of my own life, which essentially is the universe. Reverse King of Swords, in the past, is manipulation. She is someone who was involved in a large-scale blackmail ring, where her and Jeffrey Epstein used blackmail to control very powerful entities, be it billionaires, intelligence agencies, etc. Her dad was one of the members of Mossad, if not a very crucial part of Mossad. I don't remember the history too well. All I know is that he did work for Mossad, the intelligence agency of Israel. That's something that's inherently will always be one of the most interesting things about her. The CIA, Mossad, all of these intelligence agencies are manipulative inherently. They work in the underground. They work in a way that sort of tries to gain power without everyone knowing about it. There's the monarchy, which before these democratic countries came to be, there is the king, and he has his royal guard, and that's how he controls the masses. But now we have intelligence agencies, and that's how power is accumulated for at least these democratic countries. There's a lot to say about Reverse King of Swords when it comes to intelligence agencies, or when it comes to Epstein and Maxwell and their blackmail ring. This kind of really makes a lot of sense. Now, Reverse Eight of Wands it's a card that has to do with, like, you want something, but it's just taking forever. For some reason, it's just not happening, and it can be very difficult. That's what Reverse Eight of Wands typically refers to. You want something, or you're trying to get something, or you're working towards something, but there's just so many delays. It's really messing with your internal desires. If it were to speak to a personal level, it would say that you specifically are delaying your capability of adjusting to the new world. So Eight of Wands reversed for present time Maxwell. It makes sense because she's currently in this legal situation. Her attorney is trying to negotiate for some level of immunity. Her attorney is combating the idea that she needs to testify because it could get in the way of her hearing, of her sentencing, or whatever. So this all really works with all that legal stuff that she's currently going through, the Reverse Eight of Wands. Present absolutely makes sense. And then we got a Reverse Fool for the future. The Fool is one of the easiest cards to remember because it's like, oh yeah, you're just going out into the world, a baby, like a fool, like someone. It's not like, oh, you're a dumbass and, you're gonna fucking make huge mistakes and suffer as a result. We're all fools. We all are born into this world with not all the knowledge of the world, and we have to discover things. As you can see on this card, it's Aldous Huxley. He was a man that took a lot of psychedelics and really explored the mind and the unlimited capabilities of the psychedelic world. But a reverse fool is something a little bit more reckless. When we talk about a reverse fool, we're talking about someone who doesn't know what they're doing, but also is making a lot of possibly, but not guaranteed, but possibly destructive decisions. Or it could be that they're just avoiding taking that first step. A little bit of clarification, please. Reverse Two of Swords. And odds are we're going to need clarification on that too, right? Whenever I get a Two of anything card, it does tend to push me to want to bring two cards on top of that. So this whole reverse fool not being able to make that step could actually be what's going on. In the future, and this could be very near future, we're talking, she's going to be stuck between a rock and a hard place. And she's not really going to know the best decision to make. If I were to take my own understanding of what's going on, she may have to decide, is she going to protect Trump? She may not really feel like it's in her best interest, but then again, it may be the only choice that she may have. I don't know. So let's see. What can we reasonably say are these two choices? Let's try to condense it to two choices. What is she stuck between in the future, of course? Oh boy. Oh, man. Now, if we were to take this literally, or as literally as we can, right? The Emperor. Who is the Emperor in this situation? Well, who is in charge of the United States right now? And then we have a reverse Magician. Now, the Emperor is kind of straightforward in this case. It is the establishment. It is the people in charge. She is stuck between serving the interests of those in charge. We could also maybe say Mossad or something, but overall, it seems mostly like this has to do with Trump or the establishment. It doesn't necessarily have to be Trump himself. I think there's a lot of people who are in high places of power that really need Ghislaine to work with them. But then on this other side, the reverse magician, I don't think it's just allegiance to Epstein, because the reverse magician can also be sort of like this difficulty in just getting what you want. And it may be that there is a specific goal for her that is incredibly out of reach, almost. It's not quite out of reach, but it's like so difficult for her to really manifest. Maybe getting that immunity is sort of out of the question in some sense. Because when you think about it, Donald Trump's inherent desires aren't the only ones that she's going to have to deal with. We're talking about the powers that be. It's more than just Donald Trump. He's just one of the many people who stand to lose a lot if Ghislaine actually tells the truth. This is, in a way, I can see, like, she is just completely, and it makes sense. I mean, we're talking about a lot of obstacles for her right now, and a lot of decisions are needing to be made. It may be a lot more than what she can currently chew, which, she has an attorney. I don't know much about her resources and what they can afford, but we can assume that she's not completely lost. I want to ask about Trump now, because Donald Trump is quite an important figure in all of this, right? I mean, Donald Trump is calling a lot of shots here, but he's not the only one calling the shots. I mean, he's not the only guy in power. He may not even know how to run the system in a way that would get him what he wants. So that's why he has the people under him doing all the kinds of things that they're doing, like the Epstein cover-up in the first place from the DOJ. I mean, but, oh yeah, and I already removed the Hierophant card, so hopefully, if it comes back out, it's relevant. But I think we already know, like, Ghislaine and Trump, how do they relate to each other? Huh. Wasn't that interesting? Now, the Lovers it's a relationship card. It's oftentimes a loving relationship card. I don't think they're in love. I mean, who the hell knows, right? I mean, like, I'm acting as if what the media has shown us so far is everything we need to know about how they relate to each other. There could be some kind of romantic relationship somewhere out there that they engaged in. But I don't personally think that's what is the case. The Lovers isn't only a love card. It's just simply a card that shows a massive connection between two people. They could just have the same inherent goals. They can be business partners. They can be really good friends. I mean, Donald Trump did say he wishes her well, right? When she was facing trial, he said, well, I wish her well. There is some level of closeness between the two. How can we define this relationship then? All right, assuming that they are close, is it financial? Is it possibly romantic? Is it possibly something else, maybe strategic, tactical? The Hanged Man. I mean, this could be Epstein. I mean, that's what it seems, right? The Hanged Man. Well, who is the Hanged Man, literally speaking? Jeffrey Epstein. And he is what ties them together. I mean, it makes perfect sense. If we were to say, okay, maybe it's Jeffrey Epstein, but the Hanged Man is not just a man who is hanging, right? I mean, it is a card that represents just being stuck, being prevented from making the next step. There's something holding you back, and it could be that Donald Trump is holding Ghislaine back, or Ghislaine is holding Donald Trump back. It could be that they have a gun to each other's head. So I am interested. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a card for Jeffrey Epstein just to see how much, which we can assume is very, very much, but, well, I mean, these things are too literal, right? I mean, death Death card isn't always, literally death. I mean, it could just be the end of something. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein is just out of the picture, right? So, like, regardless of whether we mean the end of a relationship, the end of an association, or the end of a man's life, the hanged man is dead. Jeffrey Epstein is dead, but Jeffrey Epstein could also be the end of everything. It could be the end of these two. I don't even know what more cards to pull from. I mean, we're getting such a literal reading here. I don't even know what we could learn from all of this other than Jeffrey Epstein is dead and Donald Trump and Ghislaine are very close. And Jeffrey Epstein is the reason why they're very close. I do this because I want to learn. I am someone who doesn't have insight from a government perspective. I'm not a billionaire, so I don't know what's going on the upper echelons of existence. I don't know what these people are doing and how insane they could be. Let's try to, at the very least, summarize. We know she is currently stuck. Makes perfect sense. We know that she's going to be stuck with a decision that is going to be incredibly difficult. We know that she's very closely connected to Donald Trump, and we know Jeffrey Epstein is part of that very close connection. But now Jeffrey Epstein is dead, and she's the only one left, and it might be that she fears the same thing might happen to her. Let's just try to, I'm going to have to conclude this. I could ask questions about her religious. Is the occult practice? I think occultism is happening regardless of whether it is conscious or not when it comes to these people in this world. They are doing sacrifices for sure, and they have a lot of power. And it seems that the sacrifice and the power go hand in hand. So I don't really, I don't need to ask those questions, and I don't even know if the cards would give me such a vivid answer for that. I figured I should ask about the occult and Ghislaine Maxwell anyways. This is worthy of asking these particular cards, the Hexen 2.0 deck cards, because they have, a lot of, modern concepts. I'm trying my best to shuffle with one hand. I could just put this up in a stand, but it's going to take a little too long, and I'm trying to fucking edit this shit. Alright, so, let me make sure this is on the cam.
A prisoner, a godless child, a cowardly boy. My flesh is now stone. I am God. I am hell. I am the warden. I am from hell. We are God. I am hell. I am the prisoner. I am hell. I'm rotting in prison for smoking my doobie.
The reverse Knight of Swords might be just a message to me. IBM and the Holocaust. Okay, so Nazi occultism. That could be a possibility. Corporate capitalist occultism. Corporate fascist occultism. Alright, so reverse Knight of Swords is telling me to chill the fuck out and maybe carefully approach this type of topic. But cool, huh? Alright. Let's ask about the American people. No. Alright, I'm going to draw a card for conclusion. Just how do we conclude this reading with a card? What can we, the viewers, and I, the reader, what can we get out of this, if anything? What should we take from this? That card almost came out, but it doesn't count. We're going to keep shuffling. Alright. And we're going to get this card right here. The Three of Cups. Okay, well, this could be good. This is a sort of communal unity card. Celebration, communal celebration, maybe with your family or with your very close friends. And if that's the case, that's something that's pretty good. A lot of people have been very upset about this Epstein thing. They've been very upset about Donald Trump basically trying to do a massive cover-up. Perhaps there is something good coming. Maybe there's something really good coming. My reading for Epstein sort of gave us a darker picture. It didn't necessarily say, especially for the conclusion, sure, we're not going to maybe get the answers that we want. What we should get from this Three of Cups card, celebrate with the people that are close to you. It doesn't even need to be that we're going to be celebrating the end result of this. from a lot of these readings that I've done, I've kind of come to the conclusion that regardless of what's going on the grand scheme of things, when it comes to our own individual path, the world that we traverse, we can't stop the CIA and Mossad. There's a part of me that doesn't necessarily appreciate absurdism as a general philosophy, but one can also say that if we should be happy despite what happens, and that would be absurdism. One can hope, right, that this card is saying, no, there's going to be celebration. There's going to be a cause for celebration. If there isn't a cause for celebration, what this card is saying, we should celebrate regardless. Maybe we should separate our day-to-day lives from global politics. Turn off the TV and hug your mom. To some degree, I do agree with that. On the other hand, I am a bit of a Nietzschean, and I do think individuals do have the capabilities to cause massive stirs. And if anything, what we learned from people like Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump, Luigi Mangione, it's that individuals can do quite a lot. Don't take this conclusion as, oh, forget about the globe. Just crack open a beer with your boys and forget about the world. No. Regardless of whether we should let go a little bit just to make sure that, we aren't stressed out and pulling our hair out, don't obsess. Just accept. All right. Well, thanks for watching.